And then you have hypnosis, which is more prevalent, attributed to when the brain is induced and the person actually become involuntary. You know, this is where they get into areas like past life regression, call it retrocognition, or memory of your incarnated past time. And neurolinguistic programming, NLP, is one of the most fascinating subliminal influences because it's sort of an interrelationship where it takes all these mutually exclusive areas into consideration. There's a correlation between neurological processes, linguistic models, behavioral patterns, and the human experience. So what does all this mean? What this does is it takes two key areas into consideration. One is called anchor and trigger. Anchor are any reference point that stabilizes a physiological, psychological, or emotional state. And trigger are basically self-explanatory, what evokes these emotions. So a prime example is you may walk into a coffee shop, you may meet a girl, and she's wearing the perfume that your first girlfriend had.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a prime example of a neurolinguistic programming from an olfactory perspective.
And then that's going to trigger memories from a past event.
And you know, in science, they have these jargon. I call it verbosity term for. They call it auditory, optical, olfactory, tactile, and gustatory. What that means is you hear, you see, you smell, you taste, you touch.
Yeah.
Right. So here's a prime example. I give you an analogy of where neuro-linguistic programming goes into effect because it affects your olfactory sensory perception. So when you ask a question about subliminals has to take a whole. It's a conglomeration of subliminal, subliminal, hyperliminal, hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming, and also cognitive behavioral therapy, which is a whole different area. So, and then it begs much bigger philosophical questions, right? Like, the most pervasive definition of the word free will is